Hello to all of our dreamers. Today we are graced by Kelly Sullivan Walden, also known as Dr. Dream. Kelly is an international best-selling author, award-winning dreams expert, and certified hypnotherapist. Through her books, podcast, and DreamWork practitioner training, she's helped thousands from celebrities to Fortune 500 execs to stay-at-home moms unlock the power of dreams for personal growth and transformation. Kelly, welcome to the Fieldswell podcast.
Thank you so much, Lauren. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, as I said, I've had so much fun preparing for this episode because it's a topic that I've been so excited to learn more about. It's not every day you get to talk to Dr. Dream, and we all have so much to learn about our dreams.
Yeah, it's so true. It's
Mm.
it's like a whole other life that we're living
Yeah.
that most people don't remember, don't have
hmm
any connection to, and
hmm
it's really powerful.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how we can talk about how our dreams are linked to our actual awakened state. But first off, I'd
Mhm.
love to hear what inspired you to dive into the world
Sure.
of dreams and become a dream expert.
Sure. It definitely I came into it backwards. I think there's a lot of things that I moved toward. I had been in the acting world and Hollywood. I was always chasing, running, trying to get to things, and this was chasing me. The dream work was, I was like,
Yeah.
no, leave me alone. But I had always been a vivid dreamer since I was a kid, and I shared a bedroom. I have four sisters, and my sister Shannon and I always shared a bedroom, and we shared tandem dreaming experiences
Mm.
throughout our childhood and
Wow.
even today.
Wow.
And what tandem dreaming basically is when you are in the same dream with somebody and they're aware of it, and then you share that you had been in the same dreamscape. So we just found that completely magical as kids. And because we came of age before there were video games, it was like dreams were our jam. So
Wow.
I had a partner to share it with
Mm.
and to deeply reflect on things. And my
Mm.
sister is naturally just kind of a natural mystic.
Mhm.
And she, even though she was younger than me, was the one to kind of spur me toward spirituality and kind of a more mystical perspective. And and I became kind of the Dear Abby of my world growing up. People would come to me with their issues and problems and dreams, and so it seems natural now that I think of it that that I started dream work practitioner training, that I'm a therapist,
Yeah.
and dreams are a primary modality. But at the time, when I was younger, I would have never thought this would have been my career.
Right.
But just like the best things, at least for me, I mean, some people, like, I know I listened to some of your show, and like you make lists and you're like, this is what I'm going to do. To
Yeah.
me, no, I have to just listen and shut up and just say,
Ah.
okay, thy will be done, not
Mm.
my will, thy will. And then
Mm.
that's when I'm moved. And sometimes my will gets to catch up with thy will, but
Mhm.
usually it's backwards. But
Mm.
I was writing another book. I had an agent that was shopping it and she wasn't having any luck with it. But she's like, Kelly, I think you should really write a book about dreams.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Are
Yeah.
you kidding? Everybody knows about dreams. Like there's nothing new. And she said, no, no, every time we talk, I always share my dreams with you.
Mhm.
And I always really get something from it. And it's
Mm.
different than what's out there. And so kind of reluctantly, I put a book proposal together, and kind of reluctantly, I ended up getting a big publishing deal with a big
Wow.
publisher, and it
Wow.
became this launching pad for this world
Mhm.
that has not stopped. And I've caught up with it. Now I'm
Mm.
excited about it and I'm
Yeah.
co-creating with it. I'm not as reluctant as I was, but I do think our dreams are kind of like that. It's like this other part of our natural intelligence that sees things that our ego cannot see.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
it operates on the soul plane and sometimes on the very deeply
Mhm.
survival
Mhm.
oriented primal plane, but it helps us survive and thrive in ways that our ordinary ego would just plain
Yeah.
miss. So
Yeah.
it's vital, I think, if anybody wants to thrive. And I think anybody listening or watching what we're doing here, they're on the
A-
thriving path.
Another area waiting to be tapped into for us to
Yeah.
use for our own growth and transformation.
Yeah, I always think of it like we have this trust bank account, like that we have millions of dollars in this account, and yet we're struggling on food stamps. And when it's like, yeah, but I don't want to use that. Like, no,
Mm.
no, that's just too weird. It's too
Right.
crazy. But it's like, well, this could really help. Like
Yeah.
it might make your life a little easier. It might make some of the challenges you're limping by
Mm.
around, like it might just smooth things out a little bit. You might
Wow.
give it a nod.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
Let's
we
tune
need
into
it.
that. So
Yeah.
let's get into the science of dreams.
Oh
For
God.
those who really aren't familiar or don't pay any attention to their dreams, what exactly are dreams and why do we have them?
Well, I'm not a scientist, I'll say this, but
Okay.
I have spent time around the scientists, and I
Mm.
know what some of them say, and this isn't necessarily all the technical stuff, but there's four different stages to our consciousness. There's the alpha, the beta, the theta, and the delta
Mm.
waves that we all experience throughout the day. And what most people are in right now, if they're paying attention to this, is somewhere between alpha and beta.
Mm.
So beta is when we're all ramped up and we're like bada bing, bada boom. Alpha is when we're still functioning well, but we're kind of more attuned to things, maybe more energetically connected to the person that we're with. We're
Mm.
sensing things. We might feel more deeply emotionally, but yet we can drive a car, we can operate motor, we're not going to hurt anybody from that state. But then we get into theta. This is when we're kind of on the bridge and we start to go into more of a sleeping, daydreaming kind of a state. And this is the bridge. And to me, it's all about the bridge. The bridge is where it's at. It's where we might physically look a little strange because when we're in a meditation or when we start to go to sleep, we kind of we
Yeah.
don't look so good. But
Yeah.
this is when the magic starts to happen. This is when we
Mm.
start to slip away from the physical density of the world and we start to step into the metaphysical. And this is when we start to notice things. We have associations, we feel and sense. And then we go deeper into delta, which is deep sleep. And this is when we should absolutely not be doing anything in the physical world. If people sleepwalk during this time, they get in a lot of trouble.
Mm.
But so dreaming typically is in the theta and in the delta. And then we have REM, which
Mm.
most people know about because of the band REM, but
Yeah.
also we've all heard that the REM state is when we have our most vivid dreams.
Mm.
This is when our dreams become cinematic.
Mm.
Whereas the rest of our sleep, I mean, I believe we're dreaming all the time.
Mhm.
So from the moment we nod off until the
Wow.
moment we wake up. But often those are different kind of brands of dreaming.
Mm.
The dreams that typically we remember are the ones that happen during REM because they do have a more emotional emphasis. They do have kind of a plot to them, even
Yes.
though they'll jump around a bit, but we tend to be able to remember them more. And as we sleep, this is why and I know you are an advocate of getting as much sleep as possible.
Yeah.
So, amen to that, like 8 to 9 hours. Yes, because
Mhm.
as we sleep, our REM cycles ramp up, they get longer and longer. And the more REM we get, the better our dreams become,
Mhm.
and also the more psychological repair
Mhm.
happens.
Yes.
And repair meaning like if you got your feelings hurt the day before, if something disappointed you or devastated you, when you're
Mm.
in your REM state, you're actually repairing
Mhm.
those hurt feelings, that place of like, how am I supposed to live in this world? REM is helping you.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm a busy person and sometimes I miss out on that last REM stage, but at least I know it's there. And when I'm smart, like last night, I got 9 hours sleep and I was like,
Wow. Look at you.
yes,
Yes.
I got serious REM. And
Yeah.
this is where the real healing
Mhm.
happens. So I'm not giving you too much science, but this is
Mhm.
a little bit more technical than
Yeah.
just the woo woo.
No, I love it. And I was telling you before we started recording
Mhm.
that love wearing my Aura ring, which we have
Yes.
here, because it tracks my sleep. I get a score every night and it tells me how much time I spend in my REM sleep and my deep sleep, how much time it took me to fall asleep. And I know
Mm.
when I get a score in the 90s, I feel great when I get a
Yes.
good sleep score. And so I think paying more attention to your sleep because it's a huge hack for productivity, for, as you said, for healing our muscles, healing our emotions, all of it.
Yes. Even there's this thing that our REM sleep does. It's called memory consolidation,
Mm.
which is really interesting. So imagine in throughout the day there are thousands of things that are happening. I mean, whether on the news or in the weather or in our family or in our interior life, so much data we're absorbing,
Mhm.
and not all of it is necessarily useful. And we could say that when people experience psychosis, it's because they're overwhelmed with data. That's
Mhm.
one way of looking at a psychotic state. And we all have been overwhelmed when we've just, I can't control my emotions. I'm crying for no
Yeah.
reason. I don't know why everybody's so mean to
Yeah.
me. Ah, it's, we're just simply overwhelmed. We
Yeah.
have too much data. That means that there wasn't enough consolidation
Mhm.
happening. So this is one of the great gifts our dreams does. It's like it's saying, don't need that. Oh yes, we need to focus on that. This is in kind of the maybe pile. But
Right.
by the time
Yes.
we wake up in the
Yes.
morning, if we've gotten a full sleep cycle,
Mm.
then we
Mm.
will have discarded what we don't need.
Mhm.
And we will have focused and crystallized
Mm.
what we really do need to focus on. I mean, just a couple nights ago, I noticed as I was falling asleep that this memory of an upset I had with a friend years ago
Mhm.
was still there for me. Like
Mhm.
I was still hurt by
Mhm.
this thing that happened. And I said to my dreams, like, please help me
Yes.
resolve this for God's sake.
Yes.
Like, enough.
Yes.
And I was aware that the last dream I had in the morning was giving me this complete flip around way of
Wow.
looking at it. I mean, in my book, A Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste, I talk
Mhm.
about this OGLE formula that is a
Yes.
way of transforming anything difficult.
Mhm.
And my dream was showing me another way to flip it. And I felt the pop and I felt the
Wow.
release. And it was
Yes.
because of my dreams. And
Yes.
I couldn't, my ordinary ego could never have fathomed what
Right.
the dream intelligence is so much
Wow.
smarter than
Wow.
we are.
It can totally shift our perspective. And I love this idea of asking your dreams to help you work through something. And I use
Yes,
a gratitude journal in the evening where I write at least three things I was grateful for that happened during that
great.
specific day. But what I also do is if there's something really heavy that's on my mind, I ask for clarity on it and I write it in the journal. And what I guess is I'm specifically asking for during my sleep, help me through my dreams or through just
Exactly.
this repair to wake up a little with a little bit more clarity.
Exactly. And the book that I'm writing right now as we speak,
Mm,
it'll be coming out next fall, is called Dreamifesting. And
mm,
it's really targeted to exactly what you just said, having like the different ways that we can pass the baton to our dreaming mind to say,
mhm,
help me with X. And
mhm,
so that's the simple version of Dreamifesting.
mm,
But there's a lot of nuances and ways that we can pad
mm,
ourselves before we go to sleep. And then what we do when we wake up in the middle of the night or when we wake up in the morning, and what
mhm.
we can do with that. So
Yeah.
it's just simply put, asking a question
Mhm.
right before we go to sleep about what we need support with or what we're wanting to create with our lives.
Yeah.
And that's like the prime real
Mhm.
estate.
Mhm.
Just that's exactly what to do. So I'm so happy that you're
Yeah.
so in the know, Lauren.
Oh, Kelly, I'm doing my best.
You're
Um,
cooking.
so, the million-dollar question everyone wanted to know, do dreams have meaning? We're saying yes, indeed they do have meaning. How do we begin to decode that meaning?
Mm. Yeah, this is a big part of the work I do because but the first step is to recognize that yes, they do have meaning.
Mhm.
Even if, I mean, somebody like me, I'm a frequent flyer. I dream and I remember my dreams almost every single day. There's rare exceptions when my dog wakes me up or something like that, but mostly that's the first thing I do.
Mhm.
And even me, sometimes I'll be like, that didn't mean anything. That was silly. But at least I correct myself. Like, no, no, be humble. Know that every dream comes to us in the service of our health, our healing, and our wholeness.
Mm.
Every single one. And sometimes, especially the dreams that seem to be the most nonsensical.
Okay.
But just like, I mean, if have you ever visited a foreign country where they spoke
I-
a language different than your own
In my dream or in person?
in real life,
Yes, of
in
course.
waking life?
Yes.
So I know for me, I lived in Japan for a while. And when I first went there, I was like, there's no way I'm going to learn this language. This is way too hard. Oh my God. And are they really saying anything? I mean, come on. And after a while, I started to notice the patterns. And then I started to engage in certain words. And then I started to make flashcards. And then I started to, and before I knew it, I was speaking Japanese. And I
Wow.
was, and the whole world opened up to me. It's like
Yes.
these people are actually saying things. They're actually deep thinkers.
Yes.
They're, oh my God, I was missing out on all of that.
Ah.
So, first of all, we have to get that there's no accident that we are having the dreams that we're having.
Mhm.
And okay, so here's a way to start to learn how to decode the
Mhm.
language. I call it jet set. It's my
Mhm.
simple dream interpretation formula. I'm writing about it in my new book, Dreamifesting. And I also have a little worksheet that's available for free on my website for anybody who wants it on kellysullivanwalden.com. You can just sign up for it and you get the little worksheet and it'll help you to decode your dream. So J stands for just the facts, ma'am. And if you want to, we can take one of your dreams, Lauren, and we can kind of walk through the jet set formula to make it more real. I don't know if you want to do that or not. I'm
Okay.
totally putting you on the spot.
Sure, you're putting me on the spot. Um, let's, oh my gosh, because I'm going to have to pull which one I want to use.
I
Uh,
know. I know. It's so,
wow, putting me on the spot. Do you mind if we use one of yours?
oh God. Oh Jesus. Great. Fine. Okay, let's do one that I had last night that I haven't decoded yet. Um, I'm gonna go with this one where I was at my parents' house and oh God, Jesus, this is gonna be embarrassing. This isn't like necessarily, I don't know if it's deep or juicy,
Okay.
but what? Oh my God. Whoa. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna read it. The J is for just the facts. So here's what
Okay.
happens. I was following a wolf, this beautiful wild animal, and it led to this house in the, and I don't even remember this dream. I,
Hmm.
I wrote this down when I first woke up. So
Okay.
following this wolf, and I have a lot of wolf dreams, by the way, so that's
Hmm.
significant to me. This house in the middle of nowhere, where there was a bunch of people staying. They were all these new people to me, and somebody said, "Are you hungry?" And oh, all of a sudden, it was like I owned the house, and new people that were coming. I asked them if they were hungry, and I was making these two people. It was a couple, a sandwich, and I was assuming I was just making one sandwich that they were going to share
Okay.
because there wasn't that much stuff here. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's so sweet of you to feed them." And I was like, "I know when I've got all this work to be doing." So I called the dream focus because there was all kinds of stuff that happened afterwards and I kept being like, not now, not now, not now. And I
Yeah.
was focusing and there was this wolf dog in the backyard trying to get my attention. And I'm like, not now. So it was kind of funny. All right, so that's the
Okay.
just the facts, ma'am.
Yes. Just the facts. Oh my gosh. It's things you would
Okay.
never imagine, but I can't wait to see the meaning of this. Let's
All right.
decode it.
So then we go to the E. The E is for the emotion or the
Okay.
energy of the dream.
Mhm.
So the energy most of the time was pretty magical.
Mhm.
It was a pretty happy dream and empowering. It's like I owned this house and all these people. I often have dreams about wolves and I
Mhm.
often have dreams about retreats. I lead
Okay.
a lot of retreats. So
Yes.
Dana's like, let me guess. My husband's like, you had a dream about a retreat. Yes,
Yes, correct.
always. But so there was this big mountain home with all these people.
Yeah.
Um, and then I felt kind of excited to make this sandwich because I'm not really a cook.
Mhm.
So it's kind of funny that I would be making food for people. That's not normal, but I was doing it anyway.
Yeah.
But then I was like, oh shit, we don't have that much stuff. I'm going to have to split the sandwich, even though it's a juicy sandwich. I hope that's okay with them.
Yeah.
So then I started to be like, oh, like that was the first moment of kind of neuroses, like, oh,
Mhm.
is this enough? Am I enough? Do I
Yes.
have enough to give people?
Scarcity a little bit.
A little scarcity.
Yes.
And then it was like this energy of I need to focus and block all this out, even though there was this magical wolf trying to get my attention. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the energy and the emotion.
Okay.
And then the T for the jet set is the title, as if it were a movie.
Mm.
I titled this Focus, but I would give it a better title, like I'm God. There's such an abundance to pay
Mm.
attention to, and yet I'm having to focus and it's really friggin' hard. Okay, that's a bad title, but that was that
Fair.
whenever I ask people for the title, it's a way of consolidating
Mm.
the essence of the dream. In many ways, the
Mm.
title kind of tells us a lot about what it's telling us.
Yeah.
And then I get to the S, and that's for standout symbols.
Okay.
So to me, I would say the wolf, the sandwich,
Mhm.
and this mountain home, I guess.
Mhm.
And the wolf to me represents my wild. So I say, what is the standout symbols, or what do they mean to you? The wolf represents my wildness.
Mm.
I used to, the wolves used to scare me.
Mhm.
I felt like they wanted to destroy me. And I was always strategically hiding from them in my
Mhm.
dreams. And then I finally let them attack me because I couldn't run anymore. There were
Yeah.
thousands of them.
Yeah.
And then I became one of them in that dream.
Wow.
So ever since then, I love wolves. I'm not
Mm.
scared of them anymore because I feel like they're my pack. So this wolf, I feel like, is reminding me of my wildness, and it was just out the window. So it was right
Mhm.
there, and it wasn't threatening, but I feel like it's as I so I'm going to pause there because I'm going to come back to that. Let me go to the sandwich. Any
Mhm.
food in a dream is about what are you nurturing yourself with, or what are you feeding other people?
Mm.
And so I'm always feeding people, at least in the
Wow.
classes and the workshops. But there's also this sense of like, it's never enough. It's
Mm.
never, and it's not supposed to be enough. I mean,
Mhm.
I pack it in with everything I've got. And there's always like, oh my God, I forgot to say that thing. Oh my God, there's this, that, because this is an infinite universe. So
Yes.
I'm kind of having to come to peace with it's just going to be half a sandwich and
Mm.
it's going to be good enough.
Mhm.
I just turned in my first draft of my book and everyone's like, how do you feel about it? I'm like, I feel like it was good enough. I gave
Mm.
it everything I had and I hit my deadline and I
Mhm.
pressed send.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and people ask me, how do you write so many books? I'm like, because there's some part of me, even though I have a perfectionist in me,
Mhm.
that part doesn't drive me.
Mm.
So everything has to just be friggin' good enough.
Yes.
And I have to live with that.
Mhm.
And then I guess this house in the mountains it feels like I think a house in a dream is always representative of the person, of the body, of everything that we contain. So I'm holding all of this, and I like that it was expansive. There was room for a lot of people, and the door, it was like I'm hosting Thanksgiving and I have this wide open door policy. Like, come on,
Yeah.
anybody who wants to come. It's
Oh,
never like, oh, there's not enough room at the table. I'm
right.
like, screw it.
Yeah.
Well, put another table somewhere else. So that feels good.
Yeah.
So now we go to the E. Are you
Okay.
really bummed you asked me to share it with you?
No, I'm glad you shared yours because I don't know where we would have gone with mine, honestly.
Oh, we're gonna do
Yes.
yours. We're gonna
Oh
do
my
yours. You'll see.
gosh.
Okay,
Okay.
so the E is for the enlightenment of the dream, because
Okay.
I believe every dream, as I said, is here for our health, our
Mm.
healing, and our wholeness. In other words, our enlightenment. It's here to brighten us
Mm.
and give us some insight. And one way to get to the enlightenment is to go back into one of the standout symbols and to sort of channel it, like to let it speak. So
Mhm.
in this case, I would pick the wolf. And if I was going to embody the wolf, and I'll just simply do it, I would say, Kelly, how many times am I going to have to friggin' teach you this lesson? Yes, it's good that you have this ability to focus. I love that about you. But when I come to call, you got to pay attention to me.
Mhm.
And it all works out because
Mhm.
I am here to teach you about the things that are beyond the scope of what's in that narrow place that you try to live. And it's good that you want to be in this world and not of it, but you need more of me in your
Mhm.
life. I am your wildness. I am your untamedness. I
Mhm.
am your anger. I
Mhm.
am your hunger.
Mhm.
I am your desire. And I'm the part of you that's a little friggin' messy, and
Mhm.
it's good. You need me.
Yes.
So
Rawr.
that's what it would say. so, so that leaves us now to the end, which is the take it to the T stands for, I used to call it take it to the streets. I'm now calling it tangible. So now
Mhm.
what, because I believe every remembered dream requires
Mhm.
some form of action in
Mhm.
our waking lives.
Mhm.
So what am I going to do with this? So I feel like, first of all, just in talking about it out loud,
Mhm.
I feel the wolf in me and I
Mhm.
feel freer. I feel a little
Mhm.
crazier. Watch out, Lauren.
Oh
I
my
was nice
gosh.
and buttoned up
Right.
earlier,
Here we
but
go.
you
Let's
unleashed the
go,
beast.
Kelly.
But I feel like I'm going to for sure be less stressed. Today, the
Mhm.
wolf in me doesn't stress about
Mm-mm.
anything at all.
Mm-mm.
And it's not concerned about being too politically correct and too
Mhm.
socially acceptable and people pleaser. Oh, no,
Mm-mm.
no, no. So the places in my world where I'm overly fixated on, did I do enough? Did I give you enough of a sandwich?
Mm.
Excuse my French.
Yeah.
No. No,
Yes.
I'm just gonna trust that what I've got
Mhm.
is wild and raw and enough.
Enough.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
So
That's
there you
beautiful.
go.
Wow.
That's jet
We just
set.
got deep. Jet set, everyone. I can't wait to use this to decode my
Okay, let's do
dreams.
it. Let's
Oh,
flip it
we're
around
doing
on you.
it? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I will bring this like a shorter synopsis of this wild dream that I had where I
Okay.
was in. So I used to live in Austin, Texas. I was in
Hmm.
Austin
Hmm.
and I went to a restaurant that
Hmm.
isn't a real life restaurant, but I was in a restaurant waiting in line. Think like a Shake Shack or something, like waiting in line in
Okay.
a restaurant, like
Okay.
fast casual. Ran
Okay.
into two girls who I knew from San Diego in the line of the restaurant.
Okay.
Um, then I met a gentleman there.
Hmm.
We started conversing and entered into like another room that was like an elevated private bar area.
Okay.
Um, we then went to this is gonna be a wild dream where we left that bar and got on a snowmobile. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
And then we ended up at a home, like a snow home, like a mountain house.
Like mine in my dream.
Yes, like your dream. Exactly. Were we tandem dreaming or
Do you
what?
want a sandwich?
There
Are
was
you
no
hungry?
sandwich. I needed a sandwich. And then I was late for a flight. So I had to like quickly get back on the snowmobile to go to the airport. And then my last memory of this dream was I was in a house in Miami waiting to get ready to meet one of my best girlfriends who lives in New York, and she was also in
Mhm.
Miami. And that was this dream. So I don't know how to make sense of that dream, but it was a
Okay.
really interesting dream.
Well, you get an A plus for the just the facts, ma'am. So
Okay, thank
very,
you.
very good. So give me the energy. So we'll go to the E, which is
Yeah.
the emotion or the energy.
Yeah. I think the excitement was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Vibrant, excitement,
Mm.
fun,
Okay. Cool. And then the
spontaneous.
spontaneous. Okay, great.
like kind of almost even surprised inside of the dream. Like, wow, this has been a really eventful dream, like a really eventful, unexpected sequence of events.
Oh, okay, cool. And then the title, if it were a movie, what would you call this?
Wow. Like Adventurama or something.
I would totally see that movie. That's a good title. Adventurama. Is there a
Yeah.
subtitle to this movie?
Oh my God. Adventurama featuring Lala.
Featuring Lala. Who's
Hmm.
Lala?
She's gonna be my stage name for this dream.
What?
Hmm.
What? Oh,
Yes.
that's cool.
Yeah.
What? I love that. That's magical.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a few standout symbols, maybe three, just for
Okay.
the sake.
I am with you like romance.
Romance. Okay,
Hmm.
with the gentleman.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Romance, a sense of being home, like the mountain house,
Okay.
and then travel.
Oh.
Can we
Okay.
do
So
those both in one? I don't know. That might be like the home and then travel. I don't know.
yeah, 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 sure. So tell me, well, let's tell me a little bit about what those things mean to you
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
what they symbolize to you, romance.
Yeah. I love love.
Okay.
So romance is big for me. I like to, what are we gonna say?
No, no, no. Keep going.
Okay. I like to open my heart and really like get to know when I feel that love or romance or emotion, like to open my heart to that and lean into it despite what may have happened in the past.
Okay. And was that what was happening in this dream? You were like giving it a shot. You were opening yourself to.
It was, I guess you could say that, yes.
Okay.
It wasn't like the main focus, but that connection was definitely there.
Okay. And does it relate to what's happening in your world now? Like, where are
Perhaps,
you at in your waking life in the
perhaps,
romantic?
yes, in a new relationship.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Very good. And the home,
Hmm.
what does that mean to you? What's that about for you?
I love like a sense of feeling at home, and I think I have always dreamed of having a mountain house. I love nature.
Mm,
I love
okay.
like I feel at peace and at ease when I'm in the mountains. So perhaps that, and I think I used to ski a lot growing up, and I haven't in the past
Mm.
couple of years. So I think I was craving some snow.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm kind of curious about the snowmobile before
I
we
know,
get
me
to travel.
too.
Tell me, what is this if I was an alien and had no idea
Yeah.
what's a snowmobile? What's the essence? What does a snowmobile do for
Mm.
you?
It gives me a sense of adventure. It gets me
Mm.
somewhere quickly. It's fun.
Okay, cool. And travel,
Mhm.
if I was an alien also and didn't know
Mhm.
what does it mean to travel? What's that
Mm.
about? Even though aliens do travel,
I
I
mean,
imagine.
sure, travel for me is like getting to see the world, getting to learn about other cultures and individuals and how they live their lives. And I think it's such an amazing way to change your perspective. And it instills me with a lot of creativity.
Oh, that's great.
Mm.
You and I are twins in all this. Okay,
Mm.
so is there one of these elements,
Mm.
the standout symbols that you'd like to speak to open up the doors to the enlightenment of this dream that would be like what you channel?
Mm. Clarify the question. I don't know exactly what you're
Yeah, okay. So I always say pick one part of the dream. Let's just start there. Pick one part that seems the
asking.
most
Okay. Okay.
dazzling, the most like
I think
exciting or
they're like the travel part of it because I was like in a lot of different places in this dream.
okay. So so try to do this. So if you were travel, like if the whole like if you were the goddess of travel, if you were travel, if you embodied the
Mm.
nature of travel and you were here to give Lauren a message,
Mm.
what
Mm.
would travel say to Lauren?
Mm. I would say spread your wings.
Spread your wings. And
Mm,
how does that relate to how, if I
mm,
may ask you, travel,
mm,
how does spread your wings relate to Lauren? What is, because she occurs to me as somebody who does that anyway, but what do you mean
mm,
by spread
mm.
your wings?
It means to dance. I like to say like dance with fear, to take
Dance with fear.
opportunities, to take calculated risks, and to um, like step forward into your dreams as opposed to maybe like not that I feel like I am timid in the moment, but I just like it as a reminder to spread your wings and like believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. So,
Mhm.
where is there a place in Lauren that she's
Mhm.
not doing that, or that she, like, what would cause her to not do those
Mhm.
things?
So I think, right now I'm graduating from my master's program in
Congratulations.
I have 3 to 4. So in 1 month I graduate. Thank you.
That's great.
And so it's stepping into a new identity. Like, I think that's been for the past 2 years, I've been able to say, okay, I'm a grad student. That was always like, oh, I need to study or I need to learn or da da da. Now it's like, okay, now it's my time to give back everything that I've
Oh,
learned and to help
mm-hmm.
others and to like really step
Mm.
into that next version of me. And I think I can feel that, like, that in between part where you're like, oh my gosh, this chapter's closing time. Like, what's next? Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, because our dreams are always helping us with something. So, you travel, the spirit of travel,
Hmm.
it seems like you're an infusion
Hmm.
into Lauren to help her get through this
Hmm.
transition from being
Hmm.
a student on input mode to
Hmm.
then becoming kind of the master, the one
Hmm.
who then gives people,
Yeah.
that shares her wisdom with people.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay. So, is there anything else you want us to know about you, traveler, that you want Lauren to know
Mm.
about you?
I
Anything
mean,
else?
I feel really enlightened after speaking through this with you and like decoding some of the meaning from it. Other things that I don't know, I don't have any more questions in this
Okay.
moment.
Well, then let's bring it to the tangible. Let's take
Okay.
it to the street. So,
Hmm.
what, with all of this that you just shared about from this beautiful dream and this enlightened perspective from travel, what might be a next step, like a
Hmm.
physical, something in the physical
Hmm.
world
Hmm.
that you might bring this plane in for a landing
Hmm.
on?
In regard to how I'm going to use the information we've decoded from my dream in my real life,
Yeah, the
in
spread your
my
wings and fly.
waking
Like, where
hours.
aren't you spreading your wings
Yeah.
that you might
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a calculated risk here. I'm going to step out
Mm,
beyond my
mm.
comfort zone.
I think that entails, my dream is to help individuals elevate their well-being. And so part of that is the podcast, part of it is doing
Yeah.
public speaking, and another area of that is coaching. And so
Hmm.
I think it's really stepping into that identity as a coach and helping those who I see could really use some help and making my services more readily available.
Great. So just taking that in, because it
Mhm.
occurs to me that you're already doing all
Mhm.
of those things. Like that,
Yeah,
this isn't new, but
right.
our dreams never tell us what we already know.
Mm.
Our dreams are always
Mhm.
kind of moving us to the next, to the next,
Mhm.
to the next, beyond the
Mm.
edge. So
Yeah.
can you sort of sniff around the edge of
Okay. What that
where
means
might
to
there
me.
be the next
Yeah.
thing? Like turn up the dial a
Yeah.
bit. What might that be like?
So I've been doing, I work from my home office and see clients here and virtually. And the next step that I see is I'm finding an office within San Diego where I can like a proper office and like
Okay.
establishing like a home base for Fieldswell. And that is what I believe to be the next chapter for me.
Okay, there you go. You've
Yeah.
got it. So
Mm.
you just did the jet set.
Mm.
You took off and came in
Mm.
for a landing and
Mm.
travel. How perfect to have that be the
What a flight
centerpiece.
we just took, Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch your step on the way
Mm,
out. Luggage
mm,
may have moved on the trip. Seat back positions in the upright position.
yeah. Wow. That was
So that's
amazing. Yeah.
so we go from it being abstract to all of a sudden it making perfect sense in ways
Mm,
that I mean, it's
mm,
almost there's Robert Stickgold. He's a Harvard professor. He said that in his very scholarly way, Dreams don't make sense. They make wacky sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like they make sense on next level.
Mm.
So, anybody could just say, "Hey, Lauren, go for it. You're graduating. You're going to be more bold now." And you may be like, "Yeah, duh. I know. So obvious." But hearing this is, getting this dream insight. It's kind of next level and it's an internal
Mm-hmm.
boost. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not having to, or at least for myself, I'm not having to express and extend myself in a
Mm-hmm.
shaky way that is
Yeah.
terrifying. It's kind
Yeah.
of like we can step forward and have it be graceful.
But you know what I realized is even asking me to like reveal one of my dreams, it feels intimate. Like people don't always share their dreams, and it feels like something that maybe they're like don't feel comfortable sharing. And so I find that really interesting.
Sorry about
No
that.
worries. Do you have time if we go another 10 minutes?
We do, but my dog might bark because
Okay.
my plumber's here, but we'll try. We'll do my
No
best.
worries. Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Come in, Pearl.
Cutie. Hi,
My wild
cutie.
wolf.
Aw, so cute. I just got a puppy, a Cavalier King Charles named Ziggy, and he's the love of my life. He's so sweet.
Oh, I know they're so
Yeah.
precious. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Um, so our dreams feeling really intimate. People aren't always comfortable sharing their dreams.
It's so true. Yeah, I like to think sometimes dreams are like walking through at the airport because we're talking about travel.
Mhm.
When you go through the X-ray machine, it's kind of like, here I am, I'm naked. I mean, they're
Yeah.
very revealing.
Yeah.
They are.
And
And they also like even I will say, "Oh my God, this is so strange. Oh my God, this is weird." Our
mhm,
ego absolutely doesn't want us to look strange, wants us to
mhm,
look cool and perfect all the time. And when we talk about dreams, they sound strange. They sound strange only to our ego. To the rest of us,
yeah.
they're fine. So there's a lot of reasons why dreams are sort of relegated to the closet or
Mhm,
to a strange few. But my whole philosophy is that when we embrace them as a culture,
mhm,
our whole culture is going to become more
mhm,
enlightened.
mhm.
I don't think
So
it could
true.
be other ways. What were you about
So
to say?
for people who don't normally remember their dreams,
Hmm.
is there some tips you have? I actually saw this statistic that said people forget 50% of their dreams within 5 minutes and 90% after 10 minutes.
It's so true. Yeah, their dreams are the easiest things to forget.
Mhm,
It takes no skill to
mhm,
forget a dream. So if we don't, one of the things we have to do, I think of it as like a dream sandwich. Speaking of sandwich, that was in my dream. That'll reoccur here. Um, my dog is barking because somebody's in my house. It's not, and it's somebody who's supposed to be in my house. Um, Before we go to sleep, to do what you shared that you did, where you ask a question and you kind of give it over to your dreams. Sorry about that. Okay. So part of it is focusing on what you want your dreams to help you with and setting a strong intent that you will remember your dreams.
mhm,
Second part of it is having the dreams. The third part is making it the very first thing you do when you wake up in the morning. If you
mhm,
do anything else, 99.9% of the times you're going to lose the dream. So you can't go looking at your social media. You cannot go checking the news. You
mhm,
can't go have a long conversation or take a shower first. You have to first
mhm,
acknowledge your dream, either write it down
mhm,
or at least speak it out loud,
mhm.
draw a picture of it, do something to anchor it into the waking world because even the best, most significant dreams, just like the dream I shared with you,
Yeah.
I forgot I had it. If I
Mhm.
hadn't written it down, that whole thing would have been gone.
Yeah.
And I would have been fine. Like nobody would know, oh, what's wrong with you today, Kelly? No, that wouldn't happen. But
Mhm.
there's this added boost that I get
Mhm.
from remembering it
Mhm.
that it's sad to think of us
Yeah.
not doing it. So we have to prioritize it the first thing when we wake up.
It's almost like a muscle that gets strengthened. Like you have to flex that dream muscle, wake up, ask yourself, what was my dream last
Hmm.
night? And immediately write it down.
Exactly. One of the things I tell people, and this is going back to something you said earlier, is we have to know that our dreams are meaningful, that
Hmm.
it's not just nothing that's happening. And one way to kind of bolster ourselves on the waking side of things is to read books about people that have had
Hmm.
extraordinary dreams before you go to sleep,
Hmm.
because this is going to be like a wonderful story, and part of your mind is going to have a little FOMO, like,
Hmm.
why did this happen to them? I want to
Hmm.
remember my dream so
Yeah.
I can win the lottery, I can meet the love of
Yes.
my life, I can have this great windfall, I can find my passion, I can.
Mhm.
So read something. And this is why it's kind of a shameless plug, but I've written a bunch of books. There's two
Mm.
Chicken Soup for the Soul books that have very short stories
Mm.
about extraordinary dreams that happen to ordinary people that change their lives.
Yeah.
Or in my book, It's All in Your Dreams, or any of these books, like just a little thought about, oh yeah, I want to remember my dreams before going to sleep, and
Mhm.
getting a little jealous of the people that have them.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that helps to plant the seed. And then you have to just pay attention to it when you wake up in the morning.
Mm. Amazing. And how about for, I know this is a question a lot of people have, there's a recurring person, maybe an ex, who's always in our
Yes.
dreams.
Oh
What do we do
God.
about that? What does that mean?
Have you been reading my dream journals, Lauren?
Oh my gosh.
Do you have one of those?
I'm about to buy one because now I'm hooked on this dream business, Kelly.
Yeah. Well, we all have recurring dream themes, that where there's a certain house or there's a certain place or certain people, or we all have themes that
Mhm.
recur. But when there is a particular person that shows up and we know that we have unfinished baggage with that person, then we know our dream is trying to help us heal. It's trying
Mm.
to help us go revisit the scene of the crime so that we can understand what happened, so that we can gather ourselves. Remember, because often, especially in matters of love, this is honestly my most recurring dream, is about my very first love when I was very young. I've had more
Mhm.
dreams about
Yeah.
this dude than anybody, even the wolves. And now it's not so troubling because I'm like, I can't still be holding a flame for him. I don't.
All right.
Even if in waking life he was like, I love you, I want to marry you, I'd be like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want you. But because he broke my heart when I was young and impressionable,
Mhm.
it it's like some part of my psyche wants to go back and understand what happened so that it never happens again, or so that I can heal myself. So in matters of love, we often give pieces of ourselves away back then, our innocence, our vulnerability, our
Mm.
belief in magic.
Mhm.
And sometimes after those relationships end, all of those beautiful aspects of our vitality stop. So I think it's not so much about the person, it's about who we were back then that is still meaningful to us
Mhm.
now, that we're
Mhm.
just trying to regather.
Mhm.
It's like a soul retrieval. There's a
Yeah.
shamanic practice called soul retrieval, and I think that's what our dreams are doing.
That's so interesting because many people say it's the same man or the same person who always reappears in my dreams, and that was numerous relationships ago. Like why is
Right.
that? And it so makes sense. It's a part of us that we're wanting to maybe reconnect to that was alive in that moment of time.
Exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
if the goal on one level of being alive is like we start off as this fully intact jigsaw puzzle,
Mhm.
but throughout our lives, with every hurt and every heartbreak,
Mhm.
some of those pieces get scattered. And then we get to a certain point where we're like, okay, call in all pieces. I want to bring myself back. It's not about fixing the outer world, it's about fixing myself and putting my puzzle back together again. So our dreams are helping to give us back a piece, give us back another piece. The goal is eventually to be a fully put together puzzle, but this time conscious, unlike how we were when we were babies or little kids, but to
Yeah.
be conscious and to be fully put to
Mhm.
the phrase put together isn't just about having a matching outfit. It's about having all of those pieces within us. And our dreams are a big part of how we can do that.
Incredible. As we wrap up, I could go on for hours with you. I'm
I
sad this
know,
is coming
same,
to an
same.
end. I want to touch on your most, what I believe is your most recent book, A Crisis is a Terrible Thing to Waste, The Art of Transforming the Tragic into the Magic. You touched on your OGLE method
Yeah,
to help individuals get from mud to mountain or turn challenges into blessings. Can you please
yeah.
walk us through that process?
Yes, I can. And again, I'm going to go through this quickly, but if people
Yeah.
want the worksheet, I give away on my website the Jet Set worksheet, as well as the OGLE worksheet.
Mhm.
So you apply OGLE when you are going through an upset with somebody or a circumstance that just bothers you, hurts you, devastates you. You can
Mhm.
use it all the way from like something minor to something absolutely
Mhm.
devastating.
Mhm.
So the O stands for what's offending you. What is the offense? What's the offending behavior? So you
Mhm.
have permission in the O to journal or share what is so hurtful, what is devastating you. So you have permission to be a victim. You have
Mhm.
permission to be hurt and devastated and
Mhm.
go all the way until you get
Mhm.
all of it out or at least most of it out. And until you're ready to get to the G. The G stands for what's good about this devastation. And this is often very hard. People want to smack me sometimes when I say, what's good about it? They're like, nothing, nothing. But one thing we could say is, well, I'm still breathing right now. I went through this horrible thing, and yet still here I stand.
Mhm.
Here is the sun still coming out behind the clouds. Like there's still life going on. Oh my God. What's good? I timed that perfectly to have a little audio
Oh,
representation.
beautiful.
Oh my God.
This is
So
real
what's
life.
This is real
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when I'm so grateful that my plumber comes, but right during our
Oh.
interview. Didn't know he was supposed to come later. Okay. So what's good is often when something funky happens to us, something hurtful, often it highlights what our values are.
Mhm.
Like we might, after being betrayed, we might realize, wow, I really have a value for loyalty or
Mhm.
for honesty or
Mhm.
for transparency. And maybe we didn't really know that before. And
Yeah.
once we have that, like the contrast sometimes really clarifies what we stand for and what we give to people and what we can love about ourselves. What were you about to say?
Yes. No, I'm listening. I'm with you.
Okay.
But I'm with you. Like people, you have to help them find like the good in it, as you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because there always is something. And if we look, it's like seek and we shall find.
Hmm.
I mean, we might not be ready to look for it, but
Hmm.
in my book, I give all kinds of different examples from my life where things fell apart. And people tell me when they're reading the book, they're thinking, there's no way she's going to find good in this. There's no way. She got attacked by a dog. She
Yeah.
got her purse stolen. She like fell out of a hot air balloon. She like all these crazy things. I mean, people
Yeah.
died. Like, what is good about these things?
Yeah.
But because I practice this, I find these things, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's really the practice of becoming an alchemist
Mm.
because we're all going to deal with crazy shit in
Yeah.
this life.
And say, what is this here to teach me?
Exactly, exactly. At the very least, there's something here to teach me. So
Hmm.
now we go from the G to the L. The L is the looking glass. And this is where the magic kicks in. And this is also not for the faint of heart because most people do not want to look in the mirror. If
Hmm.
somebody, so I'll just take the thing I was upset about the other day. This friend of mine, it felt like she betrayed me.
Hmm.
And she was talking behind my back.
Hmm.
And so that just, it devastated me.
Hmm.
So I have to ask, have I ever talked behind somebody's back? Yeah, I have. Even if it was trying to be therapeutic about it, I sure have.
Hmm.
Have I ever been judgmental of a friend? Yeah. I mean, I don't like to admit that, but I have everything I was upset at this friend about, I myself have
Yeah.
done and still sometimes do. Okay, that's painful.
Mm.
But then here was the magic, and I've never shared this. So this is something I've never shared before, Lauren. This is brand new because this just came up.
Yeah.
In the looking glass, this is part of what my dream showed me about this thing. In my dream, I got so the looking glass is the mirror. When we look in the mirror, we don't see ourselves as we are. We see a reverse, a flipped image of ourselves.
Mm.
So we're not looking at reality exactly. We're looking at the flip of it. So
Mm.
this means flip what we think the script is. And in my case, I thought this friend was talking about me to this other friend because they don't respect me. And I realized the flip of they don't respect me is, oh, they do respect me. And so I got this little notion, what if they respect me so much that they didn't know how to tell me this thing that was very
Mm.
sensitive and difficult to say?
Mm.
That's why they were supporting each other in how to bring this to me.
Mm.
Instead of thinking what was hurting me was that they don't respect me,
Mhm.
but what if the truth is that they absolutely do respect me and they just needed some support? That completely flipped things for
Mhm.
me. And that like it's like it popped whatever bubble of pain I was in.
Yeah.
It's I still don't like it. I would still
Right.
prefer that people just come to me.
Yeah.
But the belief that I had about what was happening was what was hurting me. It wasn't what happened. It was my belief about it. So then this brings us to the E,
Mhm.
the OGLE. The O is for offensive, the G is for what's good, the L is for looking glass, and then the E is for elevate.
Mhm.
Now I have this information. What am I going to do to make my life better? So I'm going to be much more mindful
Mhm.
about any like gossip that I do because
Mhm.
I know how hurtful it is to
Mhm.
be on the receiving end of this.
Mhm.
I'm going to use my words more mindfully and I'm going to look at these friends not as if they betrayed me, but like I want to be somebody that makes it easier for people to come to
Yeah.
with something hard. I don't want to be so,
Mhm.
I don't know. I want to be somebody that makes it easier. I don't want to
Mhm.
just be like, oh, yeah, but what about you? What about when you did that thing? I want to be gracious and say, thank you for loving me enough to tell me something difficult. I want to take it
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
appreciate you as opposed
Yeah.
to making it harder. So that's OGLE.
Mm. So raw. Thank you for sharing not only the framework, but also relating it to personal stories from your life, because I
Yeah.
think we can all use a tool to get unstuck
Yeah.
and
This
make it
whole
through difficulty.
process
Yeah.
really came
Yeah.
to me because of all the dream work I've done. So
Mhm.
you can
Mhm.
use OGLE on a difficult dream, or you
Mhm.
can use it with a difficult waking dream scenario. We can
Amazing.
flip
Kelly.
everything.
Kelly, thank you so much for coming on today. Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll just say that I've got an upcoming Dreamifesting workshop coming up in January. I'm offering a free online event about it so people can find out about that at my on my website,
Okay, great.
kellysullivanwalden.com. I have a lot of free gifts and tools. Um, and and I think, yeah, that's probably the main thing. But I just really want people to know that their dreams are telling them something every night, every day.
Mhm.
And it's always, even if it's a nightmare,
Mhm.
it's in favor of them waking up to how
Mhm.
beautiful and magnificent
Mhm.
they are beyond what they could ever imagine in their waking reality. So there's more going on here that is on our side than we could ever possibly fathom.
Tap into those dreams, listeners. They're waiting for you. Kelly, where is the best place for our listeners to find you? Is it your website or your Instagram?
Yeah, I'd
Where should they
say
go?
kellysullivanwalden.com, but then they can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Kelly S. Walden. And I'm on Facebook, Kelly Sullivan Walden Dreams. And I have a podcast that's the Kelly Sullivan Walden Show. And I'm going to have to interview you, Lauren.
Yes,
So
please.
you
I
haven't
can't
seen the
wait.
last of me. This has been too juicy. I want part
Uh,
two.
we're just getting started.
Yeah, so kellysullivanwalden.com. And if that's too hard to spell, you can also go to ihadthestrangestdream.com.
Amazing. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Lauren. This has been truly dreamy. You're amazing. Thank
Thank
you.
you. So fun.